I'll never forget a 16-year-old me being rushed to the hospital. Depression was my struggle and death was an obstacle. I'll never forget seeing the pain in my mother's eyes when I looked her in the face and told her I wanted to die. A 16-year-old me who had lost all ability to survive. A 16-year-old me who wanted nothing more than to take his life. I'll never forget a 16-year-old me being filled with self-hatred in a complicated relationship that should have waited or just never happened at all. I'll never forget a 16-year-old me crying out to a God who didn't seem to hear me, or maybe I was too deaf to hear and too blind to believe. A 16-year-old me who wanted to drive his Altima into the median and to never be heard from again. A 16-year-old me who stood by the roadside fully ready to die, who was overcome by the way he felt inside, who had lost the fire in his eyes and the one in his heart. A 16-year-old me who thought his birth was a mistake, that it was truly the start, cursing his parents for letting him live in a world corrupted by hatred and taken over by sin. A 16-year-old me in pain because no one seemed to listen, and her face was the only thing that clouded his vision. He had made it his mission to be with her and he failed, and when she left it was like the sense of feeling left his body and his face became pale. A lack of understanding and thought was why he was here, on Grand River with the cars roaring being all that he could hear. Hanging up on the phone with his mom telling her he was going to Target, but you see, it's easy to forget plans that you don't truly have. The wind blows a shiver down his spine. The idea of suicide seems fine. His life once bloomed, but now it didn't seem so divine. As he watched and he waited and he started to cry. A 16-year-old me holding on to his breath as his face started to turn red and he began to sweat. A 16-year-old me who was so full of regret, and I hadn't even lived my life yet. And yet, this was already my second encounter with death. I'll never forget a 16-year-old me thinking it's not too late, that there's some sort of possibility for his life to have the stability that he always wished for, that though he's closed so many, that he could still open up those doors, and that his life could possibly be more than a girl who broke his heart or the demons that tagged along to torture him, and this is where life will truly begin.